Hello and welcome to the Cow's Den. I am Josh. With me, as always, is Matt. What's up, Matt?
War is always the same.
We are the Cow's Den podcast, and as
War
always, we
never
talk
changes.
we talk comics, pop culture, nerdy shit. I don't know what war. Or are you talking about? You talking about what you're gonna be talking about? Gotcha.
Ron Perlman, baby.
Well, we we always talk comics, pop culture, nerdy shit in general. I usually start with the comics, but Matt, I mean, do you want to roll into the Fort or Fallout stuff, or you want me to start
Go
it like
ahead.
usual with the
Go ahead.
comics? All right. Well, this week I have a couple comics. I brought a couple to show, and then I don't have any couple to show. So first off is a comic called Little Monsters, which I mean, come on, the movie Little Monsters. Like, I was a little. That was the only reason I grabbed the comic to begin with because I was like,
Is it based on the show?
not at
Based
all,
on a movie?
not at
No.
all, nothing to do with it. So it's actually it's. I'm gonna be an idiot here. Jeff Lemire. I'm gonna say it's Jeff Lemire. If it's Jeff Lemire, then I'm an idiot and I'm sorry. And Dustin Ewan. Jeff Lemire does Sweet Tooth. You know, they came out with the Netflix series Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? He did the graphic novel for that. He's written a bunch of graphic novels and comics and stuff like that. His stories are pretty unique in the way that they're told. That's what makes them pretty popular. But this one is a group of kids. These group of kids are like living in this street in this city. It looks like kind of like an abandoned city, and they're getting bored. They're talking about how they're like bored of doing the same old stuff every day. Um, and then we find out like at the end really that they're vampires. They feed on like rats and stuff, and they're waiting on someone to come back for them. And it's basically just like an introduction to the characters. Kind of shows that they're like holding this little corner of the city as their own and just kind of playing around while they're waiting for somebody to come back. It's an interesting idea. I My only complaint is that it was a little bit slow for a first issue. I know that they're just introducing everybody, introducing the characters and all that, but it was a little bit slow for first issue. So I do recommend checking it out. It's fun. It is cool. It's an interesting idea. I don't know if we want to give the numerics on here. I'm going to start trying to set up a review section. We're working. I'm working on that website. I'm working on our website.
What
Uh,
website?
that would be thecowsden.com, but it's not live yet.
Oh, yeah.
It's not live yet because I'm still working on it, but I'm going to use that. My freaking dogs in the background. I'm going to use that as kind of a catalyst to put some of our reviews in. I mean, we'll talk about putting like a shop up there. We're gonna build a whole site. So, but in doing that, I'm gonna put some of my reviews on there. But until then, I'll go ahead and just start just doing through here. So my final review for that was 7.5 out of 10. I gave it 7.5. It was a decent start. It was just a little slow. And my only reason I call it slow and use that as a complaint is because of my other comic that I brought, which is We Have Demons from Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, the powerhouse dynamic duo, the guys behind a lot of the Batman stuff that I love.
Is that
Uh,
Dark Horse?
it is. So they actually the digital version of this comic came out 6 months ago on Comixology. Scott had signed an agreement with Comixology to do 8 stories, and this was the first one. And so the agreement was that it would come out digitally, and then 6 months later, Dark Horse would print it. So I finally got the print. I'm kind of old school and wanted to wait on the print. Sometimes I read the digitals, but I wanted to read on the print for this one because I just love Greg Capullo's artwork. I think it's better enjoyed in person.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's the reason I was saying that the Little Monsters is a little slow is because when I read We Have Demons, the story for We Have Demons is this our main character, the girl finds out that her dad, who is a pastor, was actually a demon hunter. So it's one of those like it could be tad generic in a sense, only in the sense of like, we've seen Supernatural, we've seen the Demon Hunter, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, stuff like that before. So it's like a little
Van
unoriginal.
Helsing kind of
Yes,
started that.
but that's what I love about Scott is that he can take a almost unoriginal idea, but
Make it original.
make it original and prove that it's not about the idea, it's how you tell it. So, and that's what
Yep.
I fucking loved about this first issue just explodes right out the gate. You got Scott telling you like every part of the background of the story in this little side panel as the story is happening. So it's like it's just awesome to get so much detail, so much into it in one first issue, where compared to the Little Monsters one. So that's why I'm like, Little Monsters is definitely still good. It's just a change of pace from what I was from Scott. We have Demons, which by the way, that I gave a fucking solid 9.5 out of 10, man. Like it was start to finish. It was thrilling. It was I think I texted you about this at one point, but like we were born and raised Catholic. I mean, I know we don't whatever with it now, but like we both know those cores, the core stuff about that. And so to know that and to go into this story, it's a lot of fun to read. It's a lot of fun to follow. It's cool. It like start to finish, I loved every bit of it. Yeah, so that one I did give a little higher praise because of the way it was done. So then I don't have this one with me, but this week was also the return of Something is Killing the Children. So the return of Erica Slaughter. She after a year of hiatus, she has returned. She like they took a year of exploring the backstory of her origin, and then exploring the House of Slaughter too. But now we're finally back to current time, a new city, a new town, a new city, a new a new main character who has seen their family get destroyed, and so Erica shows up to help her. And I think that was my only problem with it, is it felt like it was just Archer's Peak again, the first story again. It's still James Tynion's writing, which is great. It still has a nice creepy, that horror vibe, and it's still a great story, and I'm still very excited about it. I did feel like I was slightly let down with this issue, and I think that's only because it felt like it's just the same story moving into another town.
So did it maybe seem like they weren't expecting it to be as big as it's gotten?
So that was always the thing. That was always the thing. James
Yeah.
originally planned the story as a 5-issue story.
Yeah.
That's it. And then it turned into 10 issues, then it turned into 15 issues, then he turned it into a universe. Which is why I'm not downplaying it. You know, I'm not mad at it. It's still very entertaining. That's what
They're
I'm
trying to
saying.
figure it out.
James, yeah, it's still James's writing. And I think that was kind of what he did for the past year, was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a step back and then we'll come back to it. So I was hoping for a little bit better, but I still give it an 8 out of 10 because it's still solid. James Tynion, the story is still cool, and it's still done well enough that it's entertaining. So, and it definitely makes me want to read the next issue. So okay, then my last comic one, I got a little too hyped, I guess, after Fortnite did a Batman crossover that was surprisingly awesome. So I think I got kind of hyped for Batman to do a new crossover, and he did a crossover with something I personally never even heard of them. I had to go look them up because I didn't know who they were. A bunch of YouTubers called FaZe Clan.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who they are. I know that they're gamers,
They're streamers. So
I know that.
They're actually one of, if not,
I'm sorry, one of, if not.
World. So what they do is they compete in everything from PUBG to Warzone to, they have streamers like Nick Merckx.
They're a brand, basically. Yeah,
they're a brand. They're probably the biggest, if not the second biggest,
like social brand type of thing. And we are having some technical difficulties here, so I'm gonna give a quick pause to the video here. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so yeah, I know FaZe Clan, they're popular, but I had never heard of them before. So anyway, but I knew based on just the description, the video, or the cover, and all that, I knew it was gonna be something related to like streamers or video games. And where Batman Fortnite was this awesome crossover that like had depth and was actually really good. This feels like one long commercial for the FaZe Clan. Like the idea is that the Riddler makes a new mind control device that's a video game system. So Batman has to recruit the best of video game streamers because Batman's old and he doesn't know how to play video games, and he's just some old dinosaur.
Does he get Ninja?
No, Ninja's not
part of FaZe.
Ninja's not show. But every person in FaZe. They were like inside an avatar world or something, so they're able to make superhero versions of themselves, and it just felt
Nick
like
Merckx
one long cheesy. Which okay, on one hand, it felt like the classic cheesy Batman crossovers. On the other hand, I'm done with the classic cheesy Batman crossovers. Like, get that shit out of here. So it's like, I guess if you had kids, if they're, if you're fans of them, maybe you'll think differently. I I went into the Batman Fortnite one thinking, having low expectations, and was pleasantly surprised. I went in with this just as low expectations, and it pretty much hit those low expectations. So I give that one a 5 out of 10. Um, that's it for the comics for me. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I'm not sure now because of our lovely technical difficulties, what time frame we're running on. So I caught a Amazon series. It's called Upload. It stars Robbie Amell, and I do not remember the woman's name. But the idea is that when you die, you can pay enough money to insert your consciousness into a digital afterlife, so that your consciousness, even though you're dead, your consciousness will live on in a digital afterlife. And based on your social standings, money, all that, you can go to different places or have different standards within said environment. So it sounded kind of dumb. It looked kind of cheesy. I really like Robbie Amell though. I was talking about Resident Evil. I thought he was great as Chris Redfield. But this was surprisingly good. I've been surprisingly enjoying it. I watched it thinking it was going to be cheesy, and there were times where it's cheesy, but it's been surprisingly good. It's kind of lighthearted. It's not like you're constantly. I feel like with a lot of shows nowadays, you're constantly like, all right, when's something bad gonna happen? When's something bad gonna happen? When's the next bad thing gonna happen? And so this one's not like, there's some bad-ish aspects to it, but I've just been enjoying watching it. It's a nice, just coasting kind
Change
of
of
show.
pace.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been surprisingly enjoyable. First season, I have not finished the second season. The only reason I caught it was because Amazon advertised that the second season was out, and I was like, I don't even know what the hell that is. So it's surprisingly good though. Season one was good. I'm watching season two right now. All right, then I'm gonna say you surprised me with this because I'm blown away that I saw the new Jackass movie before you. I'm honestly blown away by that. Just,
Haven't had
just
a chance to
I
yet,
understand. I understand. I
Yeah.
just mean I'm blown away that happened that way. But I did watch the new Jackass movie. In my notes that I wrote for this, I wrote not terrible, too much penis. So
Like a normal Jackass movie.
which and that's the thing, is normally, man, I get it, that's what they do, they're jackasses, that's one of the part of what they do. However, I do feel like, man, I don't know, have you heard or seen anything about the opening? You know how they always have
Yeah.
their opening? Have you watched or heard
Yeah.
anything about the actual opening?
No,
So
you can go ahead and tell me.
so and we're losing Matt just a little bit here, but I'm gonna keep rolling here. So the opening of this movie is that the main characters are all in a city, and there's a giant monster that's attacking them. Now the giant monster is a dick. And when they zoom out, what it is they took a mini model and used Chris Pontius's dick and spray painted it like a monster, painted it all up like a monster, and are actually dragging it around through the city while he's walking around while he's underneath the tables at some points, so they can have his penis as the monster. And I'm talking like to the point, Matt, where they rain jizz all over the entire cast. It it was the type of joke that was funny for about a minute, and then it starts not being funny, and then it keeps going, and then it keeps going, and you're like, okay, a little too much. Now, I get it. Like I said, I get it, Jackass, I get it, but man, it felt like a little too much. And to say that was where the penis stopped would be a lie. So now I will say the Johnny Knoxville thing, when he gets wrecked by the bull, I was honestly kind of scared to watch that part because I knew how bad he got wrecked, and I was afraid that like you were gonna see some shit. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Well, I think it's because his body's so much older
Right,
that,
right. And
yeah.
that's what I put in my description. Is I was kind of like, it wasn't that it was bad, but it's like after seeing Knoxville get tossed by a bull so many times, you just don't. It doesn't seem like like that shocking anymore. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was. I'm glad he's okay. Obviously, I'm glad everything worked out. But it was. I will say I did not watch the finale. I did not, could not, did not, will not, am never going to. The finale is a puke roller coaster thing where they're like drinking milk on a roller coaster or something, trying to force themselves to puke. And I'm just like, nope, nope, not gonna do that. Nope, not gonna watch that. Don't care what it is. It's don't care. So yeah. Now I did not watch that. So anybody who watched the finale, you can let me know what you want. Let me know what you think if you want. I didn't watch it. Um, let's see, time wise, I think we're okay. I got the next thing I was going to talk about was the so this what shocked me. This thing kind of came out of nowhere. It was a Universal. It's like a 10-minute video, and all that I saw for the description said Universal monsters. We will be monsters, and I didn't notice right away what it was linked to. Which again, this caught me off guard and surprisingly good. The idea of this story, it's like a CGI 10-minute little short story video thing. But right away, it's about Van Helsing is going to hunt Dracula, and he gets to him. He's like, "All right, what's up? We're about to, I'm about to kill you." And suddenly, one of his little friends takes off his hood. It's actually the bride of Frankenstein, and she's all like, "Oh, well, you know what? I'm gonna rewrite your fucking story, and we're gonna have Dracula actually bite Van Helsing instead, and Van Helsing's gonna be like our main dude." Our like beast monster dude basically. Anyway, so then it's like the whole point of the little video is to free Frankenstein. So she starts gathering up the mummy, gathering up just different monsters to go and free Frankenstein as the finale. They were trying to make sure they get him out. And it was fantastic up till they get Frankenstein out. Because Frankenstein, dude, when they release him, is the most hipster douchebag looking thing I've ever seen in my life. Like he has the sides of his head shaved, hair is going back like a fucking what's that called, a prominent or promenade or I don't know, whatever it's called, and it just looks so terrible. It looks so bad. I'm sorry. And he even sounds like he's like a fucking douchebag. And I can't help but be like, dude, why? Why'd you have to go so hipster with it? He's like all shirtless with tattoos, and he's got, like I said, that shaved head. This is a big old like buff dude. I just he looks like such a fucking douchebag that it literally killed it for me. But yeah, then it turns out that the whole point was actually they were recruiting everybody, getting everybody together to go and invade this new world of Fortnite. So it turned out to be another. I know, but it turned out to be like I had no idea it was related to Fortnite. So when I watched it
Right.
at the very end, when they were like, "Oh, it's a new world where we could be who we want and we will be monsters," and I was just like, "That was surprisingly good." Like it,
Yeah.
So I give that a 7.5. I will also use that as my catalyst to mention Fortnite doing one of the craziest fucking awesome things. I loved every bit of it. They dropped the goddamn building, dude. They dropped the building. Like that shit caught everybody off guard. Nobody saw that shit coming. And even the like now the sweaty streamers and stuff. We talked about that. I like that they got rid of it for that aspect because a lot of the sweaty streamers, a lot of sweaty players can't just build and run away now. But we also talked about how when they did that, then they introduced tanks, and the tanks were too OP, and it was a mess. But it's balancing out, and I still like the idea that they took it away. It gives a fresh twist on the game. Um, okay, and then last for me, bro, is something that I figured we could both talk about, which was Moon Knight. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and do you want to open it? Yeah, we'll go ahead. I watched the first episode. You said you watched it too, right?
Yep.
So um,
I
if you
thought it
want to,
was really good.
okay, because
I thought it was really good.
okay, because based
Um,
on the what we were saying beforehand, I was very curious to think what you thought of it.
oh, I thought it was great. I actually like Isaac,
Oscar
the
Isaac. Yeah,
actor.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that they did a great job. I feel like it was really good. The only thing that I had with it was like I just trying to figure out why they chose him, because I'm not the biggest Moon Knight fan, and I know that he can kind of tag into Eternals with the Egyptian gods and what have you, the gods. But like I was just trying to figure out why they chose him and where he's going to fit into like the next phase. Because like I looked into Moon Knight, like I said, I didn't know a whole lot about him, and it turns out like he's an ex-Marine CIA agent with split personalities,
yeah,
and
split personality. Yeah,
he was brought back to life by an Egyptian god, and like kind of at different points, if he dies, he can be brought back by him. But like, there's no like superpowers per se or anything like that. But I was just trying to figure out like where's he going to fit into all of
so
this.
for one, I know that he's.
But it was really good.
Yeah,
that's I thought that the first episode was really good. I really loved Ethan Hawke. I loved his character. Like I was just trying. The only issue that I had was I was just trying to figure out how he's going to fit into it and why they chose to introduce him.
As far as the why, I would say that he's. I mean, I know you're not a big fan, but dude, I know that he's got a pretty big cult following. I know that like there's a lot of Night fans out there.
And I'm not saying I'm not a fan. I just didn't know a whole lot about him, and when I read up on him, I'm like, where are they going with him?
Right, like where are they going? And in all honesty, too, from what I understood is like, yeah, he has connections to it, but they're not like Oscar Isaac came out and said he only signed a contract for this. He's for the Moon Knight show. But he also said that the reason he did that was he was like, I'm already doing all these other things that when they approached me, I didn't have to be handcuffed down. I was able to say, well, this is how I want to do it, and if you don't want me to, then this is what then I don't have to. So now that's not to say that he doesn't want to come back. That's not to say that they might not do more, but I don't think that they really are planning on it to be largely incorporated into the MCU.
Then I didn't know that, but like I said,
I just heard that like yesterday, so that wasn't like anything. Yeah, that was new.
The first episode, I'll tell you, I think it's I still think, and I mean I'll wait to see this, but I think Loki, it has been their best series so far.
Yeah.
But I will say that the first episode of this is, in my opinion, better than anything I saw with Wanda or with Winter Soldier and Falcon. I'm much more pulled into this than that.
So my opinion is that I love every aspect of what they chose to do. I love the fact that well, first of all, I personally just love the idea that they chose a schizophrenic character because it gives them the opportunity to do what they did in this episode. And now, this is my opinion. In my opinion, this is one of the best episodes of a TV show ever, in my opinion, because my opinion, from start to finish, this show had me hooked for every single bit of information that it was giving me. It wasn't even like, oh, this part was cool, this part's kind of this part. For me personally, every fucking moment of that show I was hooked. From the moment that he stuck his feet in the fucking glass in the beginning.
Isn't that Ethan that was doing
Ethan Hawke doing that? Yeah, which I still don't quite get, but I'm like, and
the music was great. The soundtrack was great.
That they choose to give it to you from his perspective the entire time. And what kind of bugs me is when people are like, well, it's too confusing. I'm like, that shows you how he feels. He's constantly confused because he doesn't know. And I loved it. I loved that so much. I thought the way that the cuts were so beautifully done, and it constantly kept you in a state of like unease almost. I also thought Ethan Hawke, who I don't hate Ethan Hawke, but I'm not the biggest Ethan Hawke fan.
He's hit or miss.
When he comes out and he says that thing, and then they all bow. I was like, fuck. Like right away, I was like, damn. And then when he's on the bus, when the bus drives by and he's just in the back of the bus, I got goosebumps. I was like, that shit was creepy. And then people give it crap for some of the monsters or something. I don't know, dude. In all honesty, I love every bit about it. And
I can't wait for the next episode. Isn't it on Wednesdays?
So, yes. And so I was going to give this a 10 out of 10 because I thought it was solid from front to back. but I did have to take one little point off because there was one scene that didn't make sense to me. Um, Ethan Hawke is towards the end of the show. Ethan Hawke comes, threatens him at the museum, right? Grabs his arms. He's like, "Oh, you've got chaos in you." And he goes and runs away. He says, "Let him go." So he goes and runs away. The very, very, very next scene is him still at the
Doing
museum
inventory.
doing inventory. Like,
Yeah.
did he not just threaten your life? Did you
Yeah.
not just run away? What are you still doing
Yeah.
there? That was the only scene that I was just kind of
And
like, wait, what? Wait, what?
I still would say it's a 9 out of 10. Like
Dude,
not knowing very little about Moon Knight before going into this. It's just I just never got into him as a character. I thought it's just like it's better than the Eternals, so don't take me this way, but like I was so like not looking forward to watching the Eternals, and I was actually pleasantly surprised by it.
do not, to this day, do not understand the shit that movie gets. I'm not saying it's
I-
fantastic. I'm not saying it's fantastic because I will
Right.
say, but like it
The
does
one-
not deserve the shit that it gets. I know
No,
we
absolutely
talked
not.
about it, but it does
Yeah.
not deserve the shit that it gets. That's all I'm saying.
No, absolutely.
We talked
But
about it could have happened on another planet, right? That's your
yes, that it should have happened on another planet, and that
then
brought
come
them
to Earth at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because
I mean, and
just
that makes more sense. Sorry.
But
that does make more sense.
yeah, but Moon Knight, I mean, cinematography, story wise, audio, it's in my opinion, I'm waiting to see if the story continues to go. I will say that it could be better than Loki.
And given the fact of how tonally roller coaster it was, it never felt wrong. It never felt out of place. Yeah,
it all felt right, and I loved the goldfish. I loved.
Oh yeah,
that. I mean, I thought that, and here's my thing: is like, is his mom alive?
I'm wondering that too. And I'm wondering because he's never actually talked to her.
Right?
Like
He's just leaving voicemails and everything. So yeah. Like I was blown away. It's very impressive.
Very much. My only worry is that now that they've revealed Moon Knight, how it's going to proceed from here on, because I feel like the reveal of Moon Knight at the end was like, boom. Like, in all honesty, they could have kept it at that, and I would have been like, cool. I don't need to know anything else. I don't even care. That was awesome. But obviously, we want to know more of the story. I just mean, my only worry
how much we'll get
is that it's going to keep the pace. Yeah, is that it's going to keep that same vibe or not or whatever. That's my only worry.
I hope it does.
I hope it does too.
And I always felt bad for Isaac with the Apocalypse X-Men, and because like it wasn't his fault.
I think he was a pretty terrifying job when he actually was in the role.
He did very well.
Yeah.
They just always mess up Apocalypse. They always mess up the third X-Men movie. It's always
mess up the X-Men movies eventually.
Eventually, yes. Like they do two good
like
ones,
a couple good ones.
Shit.
And then they'll restart, and then they'll do a couple good ones, and then shit, and then they'll kind of restart and be like, well, these are still shit because we're falling apart now. So sorry.
My favorite X-Men movie still, and possibly my favorite Marvel entity movie is Days of Future Past.
Oh,
I love that movie.
Because it was the proper way of doing a soft reboot of the series. You kept the main characters and could still bring in a whole new team.
And First Class was great too.
Yeah,
I felt like First Class and I know this might sound sacrilegious, but I felt like First Class and Days of Future Past were better than the first X-Men and X-Men United. As a two-part.
I agree.
You know, and then they just shit the bed, and then they shit the bed again,
like they do. You know? Yep. And it got to the point where even the actors were like, "Yeah, we're not even having fun doing this shit anymore," And you could see it. Some of the acting just got lazy towards the end.
And I loved seeing Professor Xavier's internal anguish over what happened with Magneto and in Days of Future Past and his struggles with that stuff. I loved in First Class seeing, them walk up to Logan in the bar and fuck off.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
And then which one was that in when he comes back and he's like, I'm gonna tell you what you told me.
Yeah. He
says fuck off. No, he actually says fuck off. But yeah, he's like, I'm gonna tell you what you told me. Fuck off. And he's like, because I remember being like, actually, it was go fuck yourself. But whatever. Anyway,
but anyways, so yeah, Moon Knight was great.
it was, dude, I highly recommend it to anybody who's not checked it out. Disney Plus, we spoiled everything on it, but if you haven't checked it out, Disney Plus.
So the next three things actually kind of tie in together to my overall theme of I'm a big future apocalyptic event fan. So like we'll start with The Walking Dead. Dude, this second part of this last season has just gotten better and better. There's some things I'm kind of like, I don't know if I would have gone that route, but like Mercer and the Commonwealth story arc, and Negan got his first one-on-one with Herschel, Glenn's son. Glenn and Maggie's son's name is Herschel.
Oh, okay.
And
that makes
so
sense.
he got his first one-on-one, and it was really good to see. I felt like it was a very powerful scene. But also before that, like Maggie and him had a talk, which I thought was great. So like one of Kirkman's biggest things was when talking about Negan on whether he was good or bad was like, if you see it from Negan's point of view, you know, the survivors, the ones Alexandria and these other groups had, you know, attacked and killed, you know, this outpost that was full of people, full of families before Negan did any killing. And Negan talks about that. He's like, look, you killed, and Maggie's like, yeah, but you killed families. He's like, you did too. Oh, there was no kids there. What about the kid you took?
Oh,
and yeah, and so like it was this dialogue of finally addressing what I loved about Kirkman talking about Negan. If you saw the story from Negan's point of view from start to finish, Rick would be the bad guy. So it was really good. And then the powerful scene between him and Herschel was really good. If you have stepped away from The Walking Dead, which I understand, I would definitely finish off the show, like because this last season so far has been very good. Then we've got so there was also a DC show, well, Vertigo DC show that was dropped a few weeks ago called DMZ. That I got hooked on and watched it all 4 episodes in one night. And I'll tell you that like I'm a big fan of this show called Jericho, which is Skeet Ulrich, and it's probably 20 some odd years ago old.
Oh yeah, I think it was about 20.
And it reminds me a lot of that, where basically you had the United States and what's called the Free States of America had this civil war. They met, basically ended up meeting in New York, and the island of Manhattan was like a stalemate. Neither side could take it. So it became a demilitarized zone with everybody who's living there is now in basically its own city, state, whatever you want to call it. And the story follows Rosario Dawson, who lost her child when they were trying to evacuate. And over the past 8 years, she's tried to find him in both the Free States and the United States. And she ends up finally going into the demilitarized zone because it's hard. You can't get really in and out.
Right.
And so it's got, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. It's gonna drive me crazy, but it's basically set around the governor race to try to develop the demilitarized zone as its own state / country,
like its own zone.
Yeah, like its own entity. And it's between these two factions, the Latin Kings leader, who is, can't remember his name, and then Chinatown.
Lou Diamond Phillips.
There we go, Lou Diamond. Yeah.
Is that who it is?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. And so and it follows that story of Rosario trying to find her son. And it's very good. It's got a lot of twists and turns, a lot of good story situations, and great scenery and everything like that. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're an apocalyptic fan, if you're a comic book fan. It's a really good story. It doesn't get very good reviews from what I could see online, but I definitely liked it. I thought it was an interesting take on what would happen if you basically got the Midwest that created its own military and decided to try to succeed from the U.S. government.
So,
and so it's
sorry.
It's kind of divided between like East Coast, Northeast is basically the only thing that's left of the United States. And then the free states is basically the large swath of the Midwest and South. And so they don't talk about California, so I don't know about that.
Why would they?
Right.
Fuck them. They probably fell out in the ocean, man.
But it's especially if you like post-apocalyptic scenarios, it's a really good one.
I'm pumped for The Last of Us, man.
I do. Yeah. Well, and that brings me to my last thing, which is what I'm ultra pumped for. And if anybody can't tell, I got some of my Fallout memorabilia. So I'm a diehard Fallout nut. I'd have to say that and Resident Evil are probably the two.
You are, man. And I play them, but you're like, yeah, you've always been kind of nuts about them.
Yeah. And so they made this announcement 2 years ago in June or July of 2020, where Bethesda sent out a trailer. It was just a sneak peek that had Amazon Video on it, that they were making this series. Obviously, everything got shut down because of Corona. But the guy who created and produces Westworld, he's the creator, producer of this. Yeah. So
that's all really good. Yeah.
Right. And one of the coolest things, the announcement, they've already started. So they're in pre-production. So hopefully it'll get done and hopefully we can see it sometime next year. But Lord only knows with Amazon, because they take forever.
Right.
But so the two big announcements was they announced like a few days ago an actress that I'm not familiar with who is going to play the lead. But your boy, one of my favorite shows of all time is Justified. I feel like Walter Goggins' portrayal of Boyd Crowder is one of the best anti-hero, borderline villain stories. Is he good? Is he bad? Is he a necessary evil living in Appalachia? So
right.
Boyd Crowder is signed on to it, and I hope that they make him a villain, because Boyd is probably my favorite TV villain, maybe of all time. And I don't even know if I'd call him a villain. Like, that's the thing, right. Is like, he's the counteractive to Timothy Oliphant's
right
character. And so I am super stoked for this. There is rumors they're trying to get Ron Perlman to do the voiceovers, and that's where I started the video with is Ron Perlman for like the first 4 and Vegas. No, he didn't do number 4. He did. I mean, the ones that I played were 3, Vegas. And I don't know if he did, what was it, 74 or Fallout 76?
Yeah, 76. I have no idea.
So the opening line is always, whether it's changed or not, is war never changes.
Right.
And it's this long diatribe about what happened to the world and how the world ended up getting into the position it got into.
Right.
I'm super stoked for it. Amazon actually has been doing really well recently with The Boys, with Reacher.
That's why I'm actually kind of pumped for Lord of the Rings. Like, even if you're not a big Lord of the Rings fan, I'm pumped just because I know Amazon's been doing it lately. Sorry.
Amazon's been doing very well. And so I am ultra pumped. And also having the producer / creator of Westworld gives me hope. And the fact that they got Walter Goggins on this, man, I love him. I love him. And this is something I've always talked about with Josh, like for the past 20 years. I've always thought that the Fallout universe would be just amazing for a TV show, because you could take it
and explore
everywhere.
So much, yeah.
I mean, and there's, I mean,
and
for the most part,
stray if you need to.
Yeah.
You kind of make up stuff as you go.
And because most of the games are based in the Northeast
right.
of the United States, but there's one game based out West. but it's really only Vegas.
Right.
But they talk about my favorite faction in the games is the California Republic, the NCR, and they never have gone all the way to California. So like there's literally 47 states they can go to. They went to Alaska for like a prequel part to show the Japanese invasion of Alaska. But I mean, they could take it down south. They can do it in Texas. They can do it in Montana. They can follow the games. It's such a unique game that can
with
change.
A huge universe.
Yes.
Such a huge universe. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, they've literally really have only stayed in 5 states,
right?
And they continue to jump states to give you different stories and have different things. And man, I love it. Now I almost wonder with the Goggins if they're going to have him in a dream scenario, have it based in West Virginia and have him play Boyd Crowder in the future. I know they're not going to.
Not gonna have him play that, right? But that'd be cool. Yeah. No, I get you. That'd be awesome.
So I'm super stoked for that. I'm super pumped. Got all my Fallout gear, man.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I play them. I'm not as big of a fan as you are, but I have played them, and I'm pumped for it too. Just like you said, because Amazon's behind it, because the people behind it, because what's involved. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Cool.
That's all I got, man.
Shoot. Yeah, I don't think so I didn't actually watch Morbius, but man, have I heard nothing but shit reviews. I mean, and I'm not even talking like okay reviews. I'm talking it's nothing but garbage reviews. I did, however, completely read the spoilers for the post-credits scene because I don't care to go see Morbius.
Is the Vulture the post-credit scene?
Yeah, I was about to say, do you mind if I'm going to spoil
go ahead.
The post-credits?
Go ahead. I don't plan on watching that.
Yes, the Vulture's the fucking post-credits scene, and I can't help but be like, that was in the trailer.
Why would you put a post-credit
trailer?
Because Sony sucks.
And so, but from what I understand, is like it was kind of thrown in. The whole thing feels thrown in at the last minute because like apparently he looks up and sees the crack in the sky from like the Doctor Strange crack. Mm-hmm. And then it shows him in the cell next to Morbius. We're talking Michael Keaton. Shows him in the cell next to Morbius after that crack closes up, and he's like, "Well, I hope this place has better food," or something to kind of signify that he's now into that Spider-Man's universe, to the Sony verse, basically. But then
he gets zapped back. But then everybody gets zapped back.
But the big confusing thing for everybody was that I honestly don't know if he gets zapped back. But the big confusing thing for everybody was that later, after the credits, is another scene where you see Morbius, you hear something flying overhead, and you look up, and it's him. It's Vulture. But he's now in another universe. Where the fuck did he get his Vulture suit? Where the fuck did that come from? Why is he? And how is he suddenly in the other universe, whereas everybody else got sent back? That's the thing. Whereas everybody else got sent back to their universe, why is he in this one? How did he get?
So Vulture is in Morbius's universe.
In Morbius's universe,
and so there's
after the fact, after the close, after everything closes, he's in.
So
Morbius's
maybe Morbius and Venom exist in the same universe, and for some reason something got flipped up.
And I didn't
Vulture
see the movie. I didn't see the movie, but I couldn't help but be like, okay, but in that one, there's a big ass picture of Spider-Man in the background. But in Venom, he doesn't know who Spider-Man is until he gets to the MCU universe.
This because it's Sony, and Sony sucks.
They don't even know what they're doing.
No, they don't. Sony sucks. They are just going to continue to pump out garbage ass shit.
But in order to keep it up, apparently he said, I think we should team up and find some other bad guys to take out this Spider-Man dude, or something to that effect, or something to that effect. So that's all. I heard about it. I read about it. I didn't go see it because I can't get it.
So it's just blowing my mind. So
from what I understand, you look up, you see the crack from thing. Then when it comes down, it's him, and he's in the cell next to Morbius. And what he says is essentially, well, I hope they got better food here, or something to that effect.
So wait, Morbius came to the Vulture's cell?
I guess Morbius is in the cell or something.
Oh, okay.
I
And
don't know.
Vulture gets
I didn't watch
flashed
the
in.
movie. I
Right.
didn't watch the movie. But you got
like,
Vulture and Morbius chilling next to each other, and Morbius says, "Well, I hope they got better food here," or something to that effect,
Yeah.
meaning that he's
So
now in their universe.
right.
But then in the next scene, post-credit scene, he's flying about, which everybody's like, "So how the fuck did he get his outfit then? If he's in their universe, how did he get his Vulture gear?" Like,
oh my god. Okay, so if they do this right, I will forever take my distaste for Sony away. So
they
hang on.
won't. They won't.
I know, but listen though. So Morbius, in theory, doesn't know that Spider-Man exists. Venom doesn't know that Spider-Man exists, right?
In theory, they would know that he exists, but not that because Venom has
But-
gone to the other MCU and seen
Right.
Spider-Man.
I'm saying
Okay,
in
I
their
get
original
you.
universe.
In their original.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's say that Morbius and Venom exist in the same universe.
Okay.
Vulture comes over
Okay.
from his universe and he's like, "Hey, we need to make a team."
Sinister Six, which is what they're talking about.
But if they do it right, the reason why they don't know that Spider-Man doesn't exist is because he's too young. It's a young
He hasn't
Miles
been born yet.
Morales.
Oh.
Well, no, that it's a young right. If they do that, it would be awesome. But they're not going to.
No, they won't.
They're fucking idiots.
But
like that would be perfect.
Perfect.
Because
a perfect explanation of why they don't know who Spider-Man is yet.
because he's too young at that point. Like and so that would make amazing sense. You would be able to
Sort of, only because Miles actually has Peter
Right.
in his
I know,
universe and he
I
dies
know.
and all that. But it would
I
be a way
know.
for them to do it. It would be a very, very good way for them to do that. Yes.
to
for them
explain
introduce
all
it.
this garbage. But
Yeah.
they're not going to.
No, they're not.
Because it's fucking
It'd be a nice way to tie it all up and fuck
It would
them.
be-
Why would they want to
right.
do that?
Right. Or even have Spider Gwen.
Dude,
either one of those two, it would be a perfect explanation of why,
Yep.
Spider
That's the one thing that
Peter
pissed me
Parker
off is
Spider-Man
like
doesn't
the only reference of anything other than what was in Spider-Man. The only reference to anything was, "Oh, I bet there's a black Spider-Man somewhere."
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And that kind of pissed me off a little bit. But from what I hear now, dude, I don't know if it's true. There's rumors going of Amazing Spider-Man 3, Toby's Spider-Man 4. There's rumors.
Amazing
There's
Spider-Man
rumors
3.
of all kinds of shit coming back now.
Yeah.
Now that because look how much money it made. Look,
Right.
it was,
Well, Toby, I don't think that Toby's going to make a standalone Spider-Man 4. He,
I don't think
he might.
I think he would pull a Robert Downey and come in, like,
But like I think that once he was done with his 3, I think he was done, and they were able. Marvel
to get him to come back.
Was able to convince him to come back because Andrew said, "I'm only coming back if Toby's coming back," and Toby was like, So but like I would love to see
care. And that's all rumors.
3.
That's all rumors.
Right.
So but yeah, dude, one way or another, I'm just pumped that it did so well. I'm pumped that everybody loved it. I'm pumped that it gives them an opportunity to explore that further. So
and here's the thing is like I will say this, I'm not a Spider-Man fan, but I think that the two superheroes that have the best villains are Batman and Spider-Man.
Yep.
And I feel so bad that Warner Brothers does. I mean, they screw up their villains, but like I feel like if Warner Brothers started doing what Sony's doing, I feel like it would be a lot better. Like if they started making the Croc or Penguin movies, like they're doing the Penguin show.
Better. Yeah, those would probably be better and be a lot better.
If Marvel,
Sony's trying to grasp at having
money,
Spider-Man IP, the Spider-Man property, and be like, how much can we get out of it? How much can we possibly get out of it?
Yes, and Marvel sees the big picture of, dude. Well, if you
just trust us, we will take the character and actually incorporate it.
And here's the thing: is like Disney goes, here's 200 million, go. Here's 200 million because we know you're gonna make. Right. But we know that that Russo's going to at least double your money.
Yeah.
With Sony, you don't know. Like I'd be interested in seeing how much money they put into Morbius.
Oh yeah, especially with reshoots and shit.
Yeah.
It's probably a pretty big flop. probably a pretty big flop.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and they were banking off of it being a fucking Spider-Man villain.
dude, well, they had talked about building up their Sinister Six, and then it wasn't going to happen, and now they're trying to do it again, and that's what's like. They don't even know what they're doing. They don't even know
No,
what they're doing, and that's why they should give it up because they don't know what they're doing. They
right.
don't know
This
what
is
they're
what I
doing.
would do. I would go to Marvel and go, hey, we will sell you back the rights to Spider-Man and all that if you give us 25% of all profits of
Like a
anything
cut
involving
from
Spider.
it
Yeah,
from now on, yeah,
going
or something
forward,
like
whatever
that,
it
yeah.
might be.
But give them the fucking control, whatever it may be, whatever it may take. Let fucking Marvel and Disney and them have the control because they can. It's fucked up as this sounds. When they have that kind of money, they have the ability to hire better writers, better directors, better. They have that ability. They
Yep.
do. So
Yeah, but here's the thing: Sony has plenty of money too, and they just continue to fuck it up.
that's
Like
true too. I
so,
want to take that back. I want to take that back. I
so
do. I want to take that back because honestly, I don't know. I didn't go see Morbius, so I don't want to say that the writing's bad or the directing's bad or any of that's bad because I want to take that back. Because you're right. It's Sony. Sony can throw the money at them, but then Sony steps in and says, "No, we want it this way. No, we want to do it this way." That's the problem. Whereas Disney will do that, but even when they do that, they do it well enough. I mean,
yeah, and they also trust Russo
they trust. Well, they've put a lot
and
more trust into their directors in general lately. With Favreau, with fucking Rodriguez, and all them. Like they've been putting a lot more trust into them lately.
yeah.
So anyway, I think we'll cut it there. It's kind of a abrupt ending, but like I'm out of shit to talk about. So thank you guys so much for watching, listening, whatever you're doing. We always appreciate it. We are trying to set up the website. It's kind of currently in process, so it's going to be a little while, but my first time fully setting up a website, so it might take a little bit. But we are trying to get that set up. So we'll get the Cowsden website set up. Maybe get some stickers or something. We were talking about that before. Maybe get something rolling. But either way, if you guys got any suggestions, anything you guys want to see, hear us talk about, shoot me the email, the cows in the den at gmail.com, or hit us on the socials at the cows den. Thank you so much again for listening and watching. Later.